Hello and welcome back to the Cinema Wave podcast. It is I, your host today, Vinny Albano. I am joined with Sean Villa.
How we doing, everybody?
It is awesome to have Sean here today. We're going to be talking about Common Side Effects, the new animated show on Adult Swim by creators Joseph Bennett and Steve Helly. This is cool. This is a really cool show. These are our first impressions, by the way, the first two episodes that came out. Let's just dive right into it. What's your general thoughts, your overall thoughts so far?
So I'm a big fan of Adult Swim, generally. I think that they make some of the, just some of my favorite animation that comes out outside of the world of like strict drama animation or superhero stuff. I think that tends to go to Amazon with things like Invincible. Obviously, Disney has all their stuff going on, the DC animated universe. Outside of that, pretty much everything that I go to in terms of animation tends to be from Adult Swim. I think they've got the comedy side of it kind of nailed down with you've got like Smiling Friends, which is a new one. Rick and Morty has been going like as their powerhouse for the past couple of years. And this is the first time since Primal, if you're familiar with Genndy Tartakovsky, that they've gone to a show that I came away from like, oh, like this is a drama. Like this is just kind of like a straight drama. I don't want to say just straight drama because it's got comedic elements, but I think tonally the closest thing that I can compare it to is Barry on HBO. It's like a very like character driven and it takes itself very seriously. It has like a super like down to earth tone, but it has like some pretty zany characters, zany moments, and like it's kind of operating on its own world, right? Where it's everything's a little bit elevated, which I think is great because not only is it very funny, I think it looks great, it sounds great. I'm immediately endeared to all of these people, and it's super current, which I think kind of just worked out for them with everything going on with controversy around big pharma, the healthcare system. We also had the CEO shooting probably only like a month or two ago. All of that is kind of intrinsic to the DNA of this show, and man, am I excited to see where this goes. I think this is really cool start.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I love that this show, it established itself so well, and you talked about the comedy, and I think Adult Swim has like just generally some of my favorite types of comedy. Like I like this weird zany random shit, and they do that here, but in a way where they don't lose, like you said, that tone of having it grounded and being a true thriller, but you have like, the tortoise, and just like, I love like when characters are talking and then they'll just like randomly like mention something else. Like, oh, is his name really Geggery?
Yeah, the Geggery bit is pretty fantastic. They have a lot of really like smart, dumb humor. Yeah, if that makes sense. I know that's an oxymoron, but where they'll throw something at you to kind of ease the tension in a super intelligent way that worked for me every time. Sometimes when you like insert a joke like that into an otherwise important or dramatic scene, it tends to just be like, okay, like can we get back to like what we were just talking about? Here, I think it really works in breaking up this like really fast pace where they're throwing a lot of stuff at you. A lot of characters. I think we have a main cast of probably around 6 to 8 people. And in the short time span of these first 2 episodes, I think that's only around 40 minutes of screen time. And, we have this huge plot going on and the government's involved and big pharma's involved and we have to meet all these people and care about them. So to take the time away to like go on like a stupid joke about a guy named Geggery is on paper a bad idea, but I think it really works here tonally, and I think it just helps you breathe as an audience member, and just kind of like, I don't know, it almost like reels itself back into like, oh yeah, like I'm watching like a cartoon, but it's still like I said, it holds that tone really well.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that's also like a testament to the cast, the voice actors. You have Dave King here who plays Marshall, the main character. Agents played by Martha Kelly and Joseph Lee Joseph Lee Anderson, sorry. They have great chemistry together. The two agents just going back and forth. They're so silly, like they're dancing together. And you just see like their hips moving while they're talking. I love that. And the writing, just how the voice actors are adapting the words off of the page. it's so it just works. It works.
Just works.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were talking about that scene with the two officers where we meet
Yeah.
them for the first time. I'm such a sucker for media that's able to introduce a character effectively without dialogue. And I think this is like a recent example that I think is pretty fantastic, where the scene that's introducing us to these two like very crucial characters to what I think are going to be crucial characters is just them listening to a song, and they don't say anything to each other, but through the animation and through the way that they kind of like just shake their shoulders a little bit, you totally get that they're not going to be like the serious like Hank from Breaking Bad DEA types. They're like just a pair of goofballs, and that they're tight. And you know, I loved that. I think I like totally understood them from that opening scene. And that's so hard to do, especially in something that's, you know, as dramatic as this is, and something that's animated where we can't read a human expression. So I think it's just kind of like a little microcosm of the whole show, where it just like really, really just clicks in that scene.
Yeah. And also piggybacking off of that scene while we're talking about it, the animation I love.
Yeah, I like it too.
It's the style, it's goofy, but it's grounded. All the character designs, I love how small their faces are, you know, and it also just the quality of animation's great. Like the movement here is beautiful. Like even it's crazy saying the word beautiful, because you know they're not doing like, we're not seeing Lawrence of Arabia, you know, type shots here, but it is really well done. I mean, like even when the husband is, or the boyfriend is playing his VR and he's
doing the fishing,
like little stuff like that, and it looks great. The animation there looks great. Like they put detail into like even the littlest and what may be like quote unquote stupid shit, you know?
Yeah, it's got fantastic backgrounds. I think that's what really drew me. In terms of the actual like animation, like the motion of it, I think it's like really solid. But unless I'm crazy, I actually think what's happening is that a lot of the animation that's centered around the pivotal mushroom of the show seems to be like notably better. And I don't know if that's intentional or if it's just because I get satiated by bright colors. But when we go into these sequences where it's kind of like psychedelic around the mushroom and like how it's discovered and like this like mythical quality that it has, I feel like we get like a real jump in animation where like I don't know, you know I'm not technical about the animation side of things, but it's just it has like a real like ethereal quality to it that makes it stand out in a way that complements what's happening narratively.
Oh yeah, 100%. This show, it's interesting what it sets up. I will say, although these first two episodes are super promising, you know, these are our first impressions. I'm curious where we're gonna go, because as of right now, you know, we've seen stories being told like this before, but what is the true? What can the story elaborate on this mushroom, you know, or where can it go where we haven't seen stories of the past go? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm interested about the like what will end up becoming the thesis of this show, because you're right. Like on a strictly plot level or narrative level, we kind of have a show where you know, like the underdog character has discovered something that he thinks is going to save the world, and then we pit him up against a big bad corporation, and they're going to try to stop him, right? Like that is a very or traditional story. I think, you know, tying it so heavily to culture and to what's really going on in like American politics, I think it's calling for like a really strong theme behind it. And, you know, we're only at episode 2, so we haven't quite got to whatever that thesis is going to be. But I agree with you. I think that as long as they don't kind of fumble the bag of potential that they have, I am really eager going forward. What did you think about so let's break it down like character by character, I guess. So we have our main guy, what's his name? Marshall, right?
Marshall.
Yeah, so I was thinking about Marshall, where I came away from the show like, man, Marshall was really cool. But then when I thought about it, the show really doesn't tell you anything about him. He's sort of this like enigma of a main character who is likable on a scene by scene basis. He has great voice acting, as you said, which helps, and really good dialogue. But in terms of like his actual characterization, we really get only the details provided by like a DEA report, right? Of like, okay, like this is what he did in his past, and that's it. But we don't know like how he discovered this mushroom or like really what his intentions are outside of just like I want to help people. He's like very vague, and I think that's really cool from a writing perspective because usually you want to have like everything about the main character kind of on the table from the get-go so we know who we're following, but this is a lot more mysterious with it, so I'm curious what you thought about that.
Yeah, I feel like, and this is only a theory, but I feel like where our two main characters, we have Marshall and we have Francis or Francie. I don't know if
Francis.
it's Francis.
Yeah.
Okay, Francis. There, we're seeing Francis. She works for a big pharma company, so we're almost like, even though we do like her character, we're almost kind of pitted against her motivation.
Right.
And I have a feeling that the two of them are gonna swap by the end, and we're gonna like start to dislike Marshall more while we begin to sympathize with Francis more.
Huh.
This is only a theory, but yeah, he's mysterious, he's vague. I like that, but there's also that leaves opportunity, and who knows if they'll actually do this, but it does leave opportunity of like pulling the rug from underneath us and betraying the audience in a way of like, this guy he's kind of he's a fraud in a way.
I actually would kind of respect it if they were just like, actually, like Big Pharma, they're the good guys. Like these guys that are trying to like save everybody with a magic mushroom, they're actually wrong. That would be a ballsy choice. I mean, like, not to say I would agree with it, but I would be like, all right, hell yeah, dude. Like, you're just running with something as crazy as that.
Yeah.
I like the idea that there is a ton of room for subversion here because we've left the characters in that kind of vague state, which I think is cool moving forward when you don't have everybody like established in the way that you do. It means that every episode can have a bit of intrigue added to it, or it could have some kind of reveal that changes the context of what we saw before. I'm not sure if this is going to be a limited series or a like ongoing series. It reads more to me like it's limited. I'm not totally sure, but it feels tight so far. It feels like we don't really have much wasted time. There aren't any characters that we focused on that I'm like, we don't really need this guy around, do we? So I think the cast is in a strong spot, and the person that I'm kind of most intrigued by outside of Marshall and Francis, is this tech CEO guy played by Mike Judge. I don't remember his name, but they don't give him really like anything, which I think is intentional initially to just be like, yeah, this guy's like a robot. Like, I think Marshall describes him as like the devil's like idiot butler or something, which is fantastic to describe like an evil CEO. But I like that he really, like, they use him for comedy as like he's so out of touch that like he orders this squid ink or whatever it is in the second episode.
The squid ink
he's just like, I don't even want this. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
But I think his character has he's kind of primed to do something interesting, I think, because I think when he's actually like put into a serious situation where he has to kind of like analyze himself, we might get like some of the best drama in the show from him. At least that's at least my prediction, especially because he's got like a powerhouse voice actor behind him, and he's in a position where the audience just despises him from the get-go.
Yeah.
I think kind of like doing what you said of like pulling the rug out on him could be some really riveting stuff. So I'm intrigued to see where he goes.
Yeah, I think the same way, honestly, because his character so far is like the most hate. Like, I hate that guy.
Sucks.
Yeah. So I'm just, I'll be grasping at straws or grasping at however the phrase goes.
Yeah, grasping at straws.
I might be grasping at straws, trying to think of where this may go. We're only 2 episodes in, but so far it's a really good start. I'm scared personally, however, because Adult Swim recently, aside from Smiling Friends, because Smiling Friends is great. Have you seen Smiling Friends?
Oh yeah, big fan of Smiling Friends.
So good. But aside from Smiling Friends, Adult Swim, they did Uzumaki, Ninja Kamui, the Rick and Morty anime, and they were all flops. All flops. And Ninja Kamui and Uzumaki were 2 shows that had incredible beginnings, and then I don't know, most likely the budget got pulled from them, and it went downhill like crazy.
Yeah, you freaked me out with that Uzumaki comparison because
Yeah.
I watched that. I haven't watched whatever that other one was, Ninja Kumai.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Uzumaki I did watch, and you're right. That first episode of Uzumaki, I was like, damn, like
Yeah.
this shit rules. And then episode 2, I was like, what happened? So I'm hoping that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess now that you point that out, I guess this is a network that has screwed you before. So I'm hoping, episode 3, let's not fumble. If
Yeah.
episode 3 suddenly tanks in quality, I'm gonna be pissed off. I'm gonna come back here on our end of series review, like, damn it,
Yeah.
because really strong beginnings.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I think anyone who is watching this at home who hasn't watched the show yet, I recommend it. Like, go start watching it.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't fumble the bag because this is off to a really great start. Do you have anything else to any other thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's not too much to talk about, just because of like the amount of intrigue that's kind of like what these 2 episodes are. It's
Yeah.
just building towards like, listen, like this is what the show's going to be about. These are the people, but like we're not going to give you too much about the people.
Yeah.
It looks cool, it's fun, like stay for the ride. That's sort of how this functions as a premiere. And for that, I think it's pretty excellent. I think these 2 episodes are really well put together. It seems to be well written. It's well animated so far. Please. And I think if it stays the course, this could be anywhere from just like a really cool, like tightly written script that's has some good drama, or it could I think this has the potential to be something like really special.
Yeah.
I don't know how many episodes are going to be in this season, probably like 8 to 10, I would assume. I think that's plenty of time to give us something like really strong here, thematically and emotionally. It's super current. I hope that they use the cultural position that they're in and like the time that it's released to actually like say something about, like modern American society, which might be a big ask for an Adult Swim show. But hey, I'm hoping for it. And if any show that's come out recently that's animated has the potential to do something as like grand as that, I think it's this one so far.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm going to keep my eye on it. I would recommend that you keep your eye on it. Hopefully episode 3 or 4 doesn't just shoot down in quality. If it stays the course, I think this could be really special.
Yeah, I have a lot of faith. I mean, the showrunners, both Joseph Bennett, he wrote Scavenger's Reign, which was super successful, super highly acclaimed. And Steve Healy has producer of Veep, producer of The Office, producer of 30 Rock.
Yeah.
Crazy credits. Crazy credits. All very acclaimed, successful shows.
Yeah. Seems like a passion project.
Almost. Yeah. And like you said, they already are commenting on very relevant American politics. There's that line. It is on the nose, but honestly, in my opinion, I know people that will criticize it for not being subtle enough. In my opinion, I think we're at the point in time where we just don't need to be subtle, because subtlety for a lot of audiences has just went over their heads. So hell, I say just shout it at the top of your lungs. And I love that line of we spend the most money on healthcare every year, and yet we're the sickest.
Right. We're the sickest people. Right. Yeah. I feel like that speaks to me as something where it's like this show has something to say.
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping that whatever it is that they're going to say, they say it effectively. Typically, when it comes to stuff like this, I don't care like what side of the political spectrum that they land on, as long as they're saying it in an effective way. So I'm really rooting for that here. And what gives me faith that I just remembered is there's a scene with the 2 DEA agents. I think it's like their second or third scene where they're in a boardroom and they're talking about mass shootings. Remember that scene?
Yeah.
So that's such an odd scene from a like big picture kind of look at it, because it's a scene that has nothing to do with the plot. It doesn't really like come up again after that scene. It does a little bit for the characters, but that's it. But really, it just seems like hey, like this is something that we want to talk about in the show that's like about like American politics or our culture or whatever. And we're going to display it in like a really effective and artistic way. And like, it's so bizarre that I thought that it was as effective as it was, because again, like the jokes, I would normally be like, what the hell is this? Like, can we get back to it? But I think that comes from that same passion that I'm feeling from the rest of it, where it's like there's something brewing here that's really intriguing to me. Like I think there is messaging here that feels important and thought out and passionate, and that's great for a first 2 episodes. So I'm eager to see where this goes.
Yeah, I 100% agree. All right. My one last thought. I like the half brother.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
If he comes back up, I think he could be like an Adult Swim bumper kind of character. He's got like a real iconic thing going on with the dilated pupils and the running around collecting everything. It's a very fun, like, bombastic sequence.
The tattoo on the ass cheek.
Yeah.
yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, so common side effects on Adult Swim. That was our first impressions. If you like our review, remember to like and comment, subscribe. We have so many other reviews. We're covering so much animation right now. Spider-Man is it's airing on Disney Plus right now. We got Solo Leveling. Invincible just came out today. So much crazy stuff. That's right. That is right. So much. If you like this, just subscribe. Check out our other social medias down below. We do the same type of content on there as well. If you like this, yeah, that was cool. All right, it has been Vinny Albano.
I've been Sean Villa. Hope you guys enjoyed.
All right, peace.
This is The Culture.